Hello. Good morning and happy moon day. So today it is coming into the new moon in Cancer. So this is a nice reflection for us to just lean into a little bit today, to ask Reiki and invite Reiki in to be with us in this new moon and help to bring to light all the things that this um, energetic potential has in store for us. So new moon in Cancer, things we know is that in its very simplistic form is bringing us home to ourselves. So where last month in new moon we were finding our truth, speaking our truth, and thinking, well, what is my truth? Where in me does that exist, and what does my truth look like? This month now we're coming into the sense of being very much in our home. So like we're coming home to our family, we're coming home to our relationships, we're coming home to ourselves. So that again is a big part of that understanding. The word is, self-expression, so that we can become more and more uniquely akin to the very essence of ourselves and what our soul is calling us. Where are we drawn to be, and how fully can we express ourselves in our most kind of divine way, which of course feeds on the theme of devotion, but that I was talking about earlier on last week, but more about, you don't have to see that in a spiritual way. It can just be quite simply where it feels lightest and most fun for you to show up, because actually the two are completely and utterly entwined. So that is the reason for spiritual work. I mean, as much as it can seem like, oh, we're going to go and get into our nun suits and vicar, it's really, in my experience at least, it's not like that. Whilst those energies can be quite prevalent in terms of the archetypes that we've worked with for centuries, and there are many gifts to learn from those archetypes, they also have some of their less appealing qualities to many of us today. So what the spiritual work shows me is that you can be both spiritual and actually having your best time ever, because the two ensure that you are always heading into your light. Yes, we work with shadow. We say many times about how the path of the light worker is not simply being jolly and happy all the time and just, skirting over the shadows. But what it does is it means you become a dutiful, happy warrior, a contented warrior. And the warrior aspect, meaning that, you deal with the stuff that comes up for you. You go into the forest, you face the enchantments, you face the ploys and the actions that your ego presents you with, and you do it with your shining sword, gently releasing things and clearing the path until you see your very path before you. And that is what the spiritual aspects help us with, because it connects us to our source, our true home, our light, the bit of us which feels like, when you're home, you feel in yourself. And as soon as I say that, I'm immediately getting reminded of all of the places and the dark spaces where some of us would find ourselves, where we think there is no light. And so that is why, Reiki is such a powerful tool for us in this, because Reiki is coming from that it is all pervasive. It knows us better than we know ourselves, and it can override our intrinsic circuitry that we've got stuck in, our thought forms and beliefs that we have created with our human minds and our egos, and it can gently peel those away. It can peel them away and reveal to us our own light. And that is exactly what it does. And of course, when we see our light more clearly, even if, that can be an interesting concept to play with too, but as we become more confident at seeing our light, it shines much more naturally, more beautifully, because we're not attempting to shine it and we're not attempting to do things that help us to shine. We are just being in it. And so that's what coming home really means. We kind of come the full circle back into ourselves through the work that we do on ourselves. So it's like a form of, obviously, I talk a lot about self-gnosis, Gnosis, which is about knowing thyself. And that is, again, something that is akin to many spiritual traditions, is about, the internal journey of getting to know yourself so that you can see things from a more observational perspective and see things more clearly as they truly are. So how this all relates to coming back to yourself is that today and this week, with that energy around in the ether that is helping us to do that, it just means that we're all psychic. We can all read. We're always reading our environment. And that's what comes out of our mouths. That's how we know what we're going to say next. Sometimes we're leaning into the darker energies, but with Reiki, it's pulling in the lighter energies. And when we do that, coupled with the energies of the planets and the moon, then we can actually affect our course in a really pure and helpful way. So it's like we're stepping into the wheel of the ship, and steering ourselves. So we're doing our own navigating rather than being cast as a ship that's just being thrown about on the waves. So today, whether you have an idea of where you are needing to come home to yourself, or whether, and coming home, where you're coming home to yourself in your relationships, it means, again, it's tuning into that inner truth about where you're meant to be, and coming home into yourself from a perspective of your heart, feeling that heart-centered approach to your family relationships. So this means that the potential for an upgrade in how we love and how we view love and how we allow love to shine through us. And spiritual love is unconditional. There are no conditions. And in that way, Reiki does not judge either. And so that means that we can allow ourselves off any hooks or pedestals on which we've placed ourselves. And we can do that for others too, and just allow everyone to be where they're at on their journeys. And that immediately opens up a lot of space. And then we can feel where it is that we need to be or where we feel to be. And we can just be. And that's the first step. So today, let's just put every sort of thought form aside and just start to come into our center, recognizing we've set the scene for what we know is occurring and around us. And so the intention, as we call in Reiki, and allow and invite that beautiful light of Reiki to shine in and on each of us and on each of you now, today, with a holy fire, holy fire, holy fire, as that beautiful holy fire flame, the torch ignites within and around your field. You feel that it's burning away any lack of belief in yourself, any lack of belief in your truth, and any causes and situations that are preventing you from moving in your center. And allowing that spiritual center, your home, that inner sanctuary, that little temple that lies within you, to feel nurtured, awake, and ready to receive. And you feel that spark of divinity connect with that inner temple, and just begin to fan some flames that create and set light to that beautiful hearth within you that you call home, so that it shines out from you now, today and in these coming weeks, so that you can come home to yourself very easily. It's like a guiding beacon. So in every situation, every thought form, and every relationship that lies before you, including and most importantly, that relationship with yourself, each be revealed to you so that you can shine in your home light, your beautiful beacon of love through your vessel. And whatever darkness may be prevailing in your world right now, externally, that you are feeling on the inside, that light permeate through those depths of darkness so that you can connect to whatever single positive thread there may be within it, and have that as your guiding light to get you to the next step. And as that fire gently burns, consuming and releasing, clearing and empowering, feel now how it begins to also guide you and feel supported in your journey. And so it is. We thank the Holy Fire and all the guides who work with you individually to ensure that this comes to pass. So thank you very much for joining me this morning. That's our little Monday meditation. And tonight, of course, because we're in the new moon, it means only one thing, that Nicole and I are doing our online series. So we're going to be leaning into these themes a lot more deeply in that. So we have an hour and a half monthly where we sit with those themes and we provide meditations and ritual that help us to connect and move through that with group work and various methods that we've developed and are evolving ourselves all the time to work in that space. So again, if you're called to that, you're always very welcome. Just drop me a direct message or Nicole and we'll get you set up with that. Yes, there is a payment and it can be monthly, or you can do an annual one. And the exact amount escapes me right now, but it's not a great deal. And we've set the price to ensure that it allows that kind of sense of continuum that brings us all together, but whilst remaining something that is comfortable for exactly what it is, because we're all healing in that space. So it just holds the space for everyone to be present. So yeah, if you're interested, let me know and I'll update you with all of that details. Meanwhile, have a wonderful time coming home to yourself this week and a huge happy Moon Day.